In this video, we'll be showing how to migrate between VMware Cloud and AWS and NC2 and Nutanix Cloud Clusters. So we have a VMware Cloud and AWS account. We have the customer AWS account and an on-premises customer data center as well. And on the far right, of course, we have a VMC SDDC, or software-defined data center. And in the customer account, we have in a VPC there deployed NC2 or Nutanix Cloud Clusters. So we are linking all these things together using Direct Connect through a transit VIF connecting to a transit gateway, and that is paired with a VTGW or VMware Transit Connect in the VMC AWS account. So if we simplify this diagram a little bit, take away the on-prem, we can see that we still have the VMC environment and the NC2 environment still linked across this peering connection. And we have already set up, since we want to migrate from VMC, we have a 10.3 and a 10.4 network with user VMs, and we are replicating the user network on the NC2 side using flow overlay networking, so we can migrate without changing IP addresses. So on the NC2 side, we're using 10.90. On the VMC side, we have the management network, which is 10.2. And we will have a quick look at the settings of NC2 in the MCM console right now. Just verify there that this cluster here now is up and running, and we are using the 10.90 network for this. We have Prism Central deployed as well. Now let's have a look at the VMware Cloud and AWS environment. So let's go to the VMware Cloud and AWS management console. We're selecting our SDDC. We go to networking and security to look at the network settings in there. And we'll start by opening up the client VM networks, of which we have two. We have the 10.3 and the 10.4 as discussed. We'll migrate VMs from the 10.4 network. Since we're linking this together, we also have that Transit Connect, or the VMware Transit Connect, VTGW. And we now have the learned route here, which is 10.90. And that is this network that we added in there for the VTGW. So we can go and have a look at the SDDC groups, which is essentially the VTGW settings. Selecting a VTGW and the external gateway, which is where we have done the peering to the customer's transit gateway. We can see here we have added in the 10.90 route to that network. So let's have a look at the peering connection in the customer AWS account and see how that shows up in there. So we go to the AWS management console, go to transit gateways, have a look at that transit gateway that we are utilizing in this case, and we check the route table that is associated with it. Here we have attachments. Ignore the VPN one. We look at the peering attachment that we have. So that is between, of course, the VTGW and the transit gateway. And we also have the VPC attachment, which of course is the ENI that goes into the customer VPC to link that together. And if you look at the routes that we have in there, we have added static routes for the VMware Cloud and AWS environment, the 10.2 for the management, and then the 10.3 and the 10.4. As you can see here, these are all added as static routes. We also have the 10.90 network in there, which is set up from the VPC. So that is automatically propagated, so that we don't need to add the static route for that. So let's have a look at the overlay networks that we are using for migrating the VMs without any change in IP address. So we go to the Prism Central console. In here we have created within NC2 a subnet, an overlay network, the 10.4.0.0 network. And if we go into the vCenter management console, we can in here see the VM that we want to migrate, which has a 10.4.03 IP address. So we're shifting into Move, which is our tool of choice for migrating VMs, and this is running on top of NC2. We have linked NC2 and VMC in here, and we are going to create a new migration plan in which we select our Windows VM that we wanted to migrate. The source, of course, is VMC. The target is NC2. Pick our cluster and our storage. And then we select our virtual machine from here. The VMs that are showing in here are all from the picked up from the connection that we have with the VMC vCenter. We select the network. Since we created the overlay network to match VMC, the 10.4 network, select that here. And we want to retain our IP address, so we have that checked. We uninstall VMware tools on the target VMs as well because we don't need them after the migration. And we enter in a username and password for Windows in this case, since we want to have the Move software automatically install the required drivers and also remove the VMware tools. So we're ready to kick things off here. Save that and start it. If we look at it from the Move console, you can see here when we select all VMs that it hasn't started yet, but it will soon kick off. And we're going to speed this up so we don't have to wait for it. So it does the driver installation and all that, and it does the data sync as well in the background. When the data sync is done, we are ready to cut this over from VMC to NC2. So we highlight the VM, click cut over, and continue. Now in vCenter we can also follow this, just looking at the recent tasks and also the snapshots that are being taken automatically by Move when we're doing this. And we step through that, and when that's done we are essentially finished with the migration. We click in Prism Central and we find our VM in here. We can verify that it has been transferred, it is powered on, and it has an IP address of 10.4.0.3, just like before.